The purpose is to make God's creation godly. So God says, I hate murder. Well, then we won't murder. I hate stealing. Then we won't steal. I love holiness. We'll try to be holy. I love charity. We'll give charity. In that way, the creation reflects the Creator, and the Creator feels comfortable in his creation. By the way, it makes life on earth a little more enjoyable. If you don't have to worry that somebody's going to rob you or kill you, it's a lot easier to breathe. So what's good for the world is also good for its Creator. And what's good for the Creator also works out well for the world. So that is the purpose. The purpose is to make God's creation godly. That's not asking too much. It's like saying, here's my house, you can live in it. But don't destroy it for me, okay? Good deal. So it's really significant. Judaism is not a religion. And that's why in Judaism, there is no emphasis at all on getting to heaven or avoiding hell. Like, what do you think of heaven and hell? If you can't be here, you got to go somewhere. But it's not like we want to go to heaven. We don't. Because in heaven, you're not useful to God. You're only useful here. So there's no emphasis on heaven. So there's a country western song. The Cowboys had a song. If I can't go to heaven, then at least let me go to Texas. If I can't go to Texas, all right, I'll go to heaven. Jews have a different song. If I can't go to Miami, okay, I'll go to Texas. I'll go to heaven. But we don't want to go to heaven. So religion, for all practical purposes, is a method by which you get to heaven. That's a religion. We don't want to go to heaven, so we're not a religion. We're an earth-based, not a heavenly-based philosophy. And that's why in the entire Torah, there's no mention of heaven. If that's the whole goal, shouldn't it be mentioned at least once? It's not mentioned. Not because there's no heaven, but because who cares? The important thing is, what do we do with earth? Heaven is fine. Don't worry about heaven. But what can we do to make earth more heavenly? So instead of people trying to get to heaven, God wants to come down to earth. Now imagine what would happen if everybody goes to heaven and God comes down to earth. Where's everybody? So the objective is bring God down to earth. Then you don't have to go to heaven. You can stay right here. Why is there so much violence? Because people don't know the purpose for which they exist. You can't just tell people what they can't do. You can't steal, you can't cheat, you can't lie, you can't go on red, and you have to signal your turn, and you have to... You can't do that to people. You got to tell people what life is, not just give them restrictions on what they can do. Children growing up in the world today get only one message. There are 1,000 things you cannot do. That's it. That's the whole message. That's the whole life. So what should I do? I don't know. Stay off the streets. Make a living. Don't forget to pay bills. What am I here for? Just don't misbehave. That's it. That's the whole message. But what do you expect? So there's a backlash against all these restrictions. Even in raising children, every time you tell a child you can't do this, you have to tell them what they can do. You've got to keep a balance. You can't give the impression to a kid life is full of restrictions. You can't do this, you can't do that, you can't go there, you can't. Life has to be positive, not negative. So when children grow up without a message, what is life? Don't tell me what it's not. If you don't tell people what life is, then they're going to rebel against all the restrictions. I mean, it's getting so bad that you tell a boy that he has to be a boy, he rebels. No, I'm going to be a girl. You tell a girl she has to be a girl. No, I want to be a boy. Every restriction feels like a denial of life, because what is life? Nobody knows. You just have to go to school, get a job, make a living. Why? Because I'm not going to support you. What is that? So all this crime and all this violence and frustration is not because there's poverty or there's inequality. That's always been around. There are rich people, there are poor people, there are powerful people, there are weak people. The real cause of this unhappiness and misery and frustration is because life itself means nothing anymore. I don't know why I have to be alive. So they do dangerous things, they do criminal things. It just proves the point. So we don't really see it as anti-Semitism. In World War II, there was anti-Semitism. Today, it's just another form of crime. So if some guy wants to commit a crime, who's he going to pick on? Somebody bigger and stronger than him? No, that's ridiculous. He's going to pick on the people who don't fight, who don't have guns. No. But it's not really anti-Semitism. The guy doesn't care if you're Jewish or not. He just wants to rob you and burn your store down. They call it anti-Semitism, but it's really not. It's just crime. And that's rampant, out of control. Of course, we want police and protection from crime. I don't understand what hate crime means. Oh, that's a hate crime. Ever hear of a love crime? Oh, yeah. Okay, but let's not go into that. But what is a hate crime? It's a crime. But nobody takes that seriously anymore, so we have to make it worse than a crime. It's a hate crime. Soon we'll get used to that, and that won't matter either. So unless you kill at least 12 people, nobody bothers. That's actually what's happening now. The police will not respond to a theft if it's under $900. Handle it yourself. We're busy. It's terrible. So yeah, of course we have to protect ourselves against crime. But really, like a very, very important little project, every school day, in every school, there should be a moment of silence, right at the beginning of the day. Sit down and be quiet for a minute and think why you're here. Children are going to ask their parents, what am I supposed to think? In that minute, that will change the entire atmosphere at school. It will change the atmosphere at home. Stop and think for a minute. And now the parents are going to have to come up with some wisdom because the kid has to think about something for a minute. And the school is not allowed to tell them what to think. So the parents are going to have to. All of a sudden, you've introduced thoughtfulness, awareness, conscience. Why are you here? And it has to be the school, because children take school seriously. They don't take anything else seriously. I mean, school is not that serious either, but it's still the most serious thing in a child's life. That is turning out to be a very successful project. Every school that has done this reports that the violence among the students has gone down, attention has become better, attendance has become better. Kids are more likely to show up to school because of that moment of silence. So it takes so little to get people back into life, because everybody wants to live. It's cruel not to tell them what life is. Just don't do this and don't do that. And be careful, be healthy, and stay out of trouble. It's not a life. So we have many, many projects, and just to get people back into, take your life seriously. You're here for a reason. You're indispensable. If God didn't need 8 billion people in the world, then there wouldn't be. So every human being born into the world is necessary. And that's why you don't have to do anything heroic to make the world better. Every little act of kindness, every act of wisdom, every act of charity makes the world better. A whole lot better. It just won't make headlines. Nobody's going to write you up as a hero. But the little things count. Even 1 minute of silence changes the school. Because a little goodness goes a long way. And the tours are a good project. The internet, where you can share your information with the whole world at the same time. Do you notice what's very popular? I don't know, in the United States anyway. All of a sudden, entertainment has changed. You notice that all comedy has become political and nasty, vicious, making fun of people, ridiculing people. That has become comedy. It used to be a comedian made fun of himself, and that was very funny. Now everybody makes fun of everybody else, and it's nasty. Sometimes it's funny. Most of the time it's not. On the other hand, what has become popular entertainment are people who talk values, who talk wisdom, and they have millions of viewers or listeners. Mostly it's on radio. People are really interested in what's good, what's right, what's wise. And to have the internet, to be able to share that wisdom, that's going to save us. Otherwise, we're self-destructing.
We talked about the segregation of gender in the Hasidic community. What is then womanhood in a positive way?
I don't know anything positive about it. It's a fact of history that women make life possible. Not just by giving birth. There's a certain stability that is feminine, that saves men the male world from going off the deep end. If there were no women, men would wipe themselves out. Because the nature of the aggressive individual is to never be satisfied. If you're never satisfied, wars will never end. What gives the human race some stability and permanence is the feminine trait of contentment. Women know how to be content when things are good. Without that, men wouldn't know how to do that. Women make men civilized. Without women, men would not be civilized. That's what God meant when he said it is not good for man to be alone. He needs some stability. So the feminine trait, one of them anyway, is the ability to enjoy what is good. Men always need to fix what is bad. If something is broken in the house, a man has a purpose for life. Okay, I have something to live for. Nothing's broken? Nothing needs to be fixed? Nothing's missing? Then what am I going to do? So why don't you just enjoy your family? How do you do that? That's why men, deep down, are very jealous of women. Like, what are you so happy about? When everything is good, women thrive. Men look around to see, what am I supposed to be doing? So the world has to become more feminine. Because as we solve more and more problems, we're going to have to get used to the fact that there are no more problems. And then what are you going to do? Then we have to become feminine. That's why women are nurturers. Women are natural nurturers. A mother holding a child gives the child life. A father holding a child makes the child nervous. Did you ever notice that? Because when a father holds a child, he's thinking, how am I going to pay for his education? How am I going to raise this child? When is he going to become independent and get out of the house? And the child feels that tension. A mother holds a child, life is perfect. Everything's perfect. Couldn't be better. And the child feels that. And that's nourishing. So women are great nurturers because there's a contentment. You know how to enjoy what is good. Which goes right to what we were saying before. Stop telling me what's wrong. Tell me what's right. Men are very good at fixing what's wrong. But we're not so good at enjoying what is right. So when the world becomes perfected, men are going to have no choice but to become more feminine. Not effeminate, not lose their gender, but acquire this ability to really thrive when things are perfect. That's what women, historically, all women, in every society, kept the men civilized. In the society where men don't listen to women or don't respect women, the men are out of control. Too aggressive, too violent, self-destructive. So there's a good reason that Adam named his wife Chava, which means the mother of all life. He was a smart guy. The mother of all life, including men. Now, the separation between men and women in a healthy society is not isolation. It's not like men never get to see women and women never get to see men. That's absurd. It's that there are no relationships between men and women unless there's a purpose. Just mingling men with women? No. If there's a purpose, if there's some kind of a relationship, a teacher, a student, a neighbor, I mean, some identifiable connection. But just socializing men and women together, that's confusing everybody. So the result is men respect women more because we're not so casual about it. Women respect men more, and we know who we are. But if you're in kindergarten together, you go to camp together, you go to school together, you go to dances together, you do everything together, when do you develop who you are? So it doesn't help respect each other. We just take each other for granted, and that's not nice. Even in marriage, a couple have to be very careful not to take each other for granted. A man is a man and a woman is a woman. You have to watch it, because you can hurt each other really badly if you're not paying attention. So there's more respect, there's more appreciation of the difference. If you enjoyed this conversation or this topic and you're looking for more information, or you want to hear it again from another angle, there's a way to do that. And that is in this book. It's all there. Order it from Amazon. You can read it, reread it, and share it in this book. It's all there. Order it from Amazon. You can read it, reread it, and share it. I want to invite you to join us as VIPs, partners in our work, and join us also for a personal chat with other members of the VIP club. We talk about many things. There's an opportunity to ask, to respond, to make a comment, to meet the other supporters. And together we can really make a difference in Jewish life and in life in general. So join us. It's goodtoknow.org. Log in, call, make contact, and join us with the VIPs.